All right, Don, it is all yours. What's going on?
All right. We're going to be speaking over in Texas. So I'm going to have to learn how to speak Texan. And we'll probably have a few more discussions on it. But we're going to talk basically on right now, this is swarming time. So you need to get your boxes out. And I know everybody's got a bunch of questions. So I know if you haven't got any questions about swarm boxes, that's what you need to start on. Who's going first?
Looks like Jay's got a question first. Go ahead, Jay.
Hi, Don.
Hey.
Looking forward to seeing you when you get to Texas.
Do what for you?
I said I'm looking forward to see you when you come to Texas.
Oh, I think they're going to be a sold-out crowd over there. They're already getting quite a few reservations. We're going to be probably speaking in Kentucky, too. I know Tennessee contacted me last year, but I was busy, so I'm trying to get things scheduled around. I got help this year. My son-in-law, my son, my granddaughter, they're all pitching in, so I can get away from you a little bit more.
That'll be good. No, you'll be about 3.5 hours from me in Texas, so I'll be down there.
Oh, good. Yeah. I hear they got good barbecue.
Oh, yeah. That's what you come to Texas for.
Maybe Greg will put one on up there. He's pretty good butchering up there.
There you go. 2 things.
Okay.
I worked my splits today. I've got queens coming in Thursday. So I got everything set up. I've made 34 splits today.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got about
the splits already without the queens?
Sir?
You made the splits without your queens?
Yes, I did. I work full time, so I have to do it when I can. It's worked out so far the last couple of years when I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the questions I had that just kind of bugs me a little bit. They talk about the queens flying out when they go to mate, when you're making new queens.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody says they fly out further than the drones do. Is that true, or is that just a bunch of people talking?
Well, I don't know. I don't follow them around, but, you know, we saturate our mating yards as much as we possibly can, you know, so it depends, you know, if you just got a few hives or you say you had 34, you split. So
yes, I had 28 that I said.
You say you made the splits and you didn't put queens in. Now, one thing I would suggest doing is leave the corking both ends. Because if you go 24 hours, they're going to start making queen cells. And if you don't get your queens when they're supposed to get there, I don't know, you order them from us?
No, I've got them coming out of California. They're pretty good. You order them and they tell you the day they get here, and they get here that day.
Well, I would leave the corks in both ends anyhow. If you're getting the dentin cages, you might be getting the little plastic cages. That way you can pull an extra frame out and make extra splits, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, if I see anything that looks like a queen being made, I'll split them again.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't realize you can do that.
Yeah. In fact, I had 3 of them when I started splitting that I split out into different nukes with the queens being made.
You left them in the same yard?
In the same yard.
Did you close them up, or are you letting the field bees drift back?
I'm letting the field bees drift back.
Okay. You made sure there was plenty in there then, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Just checking. I might learn some new tricks.
No, before I had changed them, the first year I made splits, I had changed them to yards and stuff. But
yeah,
this last year when I did it, I set some within 4 or 5 feet and did fine. So makes it a lot easier for me.
You got to do what's easy.
I agree. Tell you what, today was a hard day. We started about noon and about 5 hours making all the splits and getting them all ready. So
you can't tell me nothing new. That working's hard, splitting.
I agree. Oh, well, I'll let some others jump on. I may jump back in if I think of something else. But
okay.
Look forward to seeing you in Texas.
Good.
Okay. Over to Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Don.
Hey.
I got some packages coming April 12th, and if the weather's kind of cool, is it all right to still spray them down with sugar syrup?
It depends how cool it is. I mean, I've got videos on how to put them in with, cool weather or some that's just, warm enough. Some people, a little bit of spray and somebody else is drowning them. So you got to use your discretion. Now you can pull out, 3 or 4 frames, set the package in there and put the queen between the frames and hope they come out. I mean, that's one way to do them if you don't want to spray them.
Yeah. I just don't want to get them too wet and then they end up getting chilled or whatever.
Well, April, you might have fairly decent weather. It's hard to say, I'm not a weatherman. I don't believe half the stuff they say anyhow. I look outside. That gives me a better idea what's going on.
Yeah, we just got 8 inches of snow, so. But, well, hopefully it's in the 50s. April 12th, I'm picking them up.
You just got 8 inches of snow?
Yeah.
And you know what? Steve is down here Monday. He's picking up package, and I kept telling him, it's going to snow in New York. It's going to snow. No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm on the island. We didn't get any snow. This is upstate. We got snow. But it's still pretty cool here on the island.
He better have pajamas and warming blankets for all them bees he's hauling up there.
I spoke to him, and I got in contact with your son about bringing some packages up, but he said you were kind of slim on bees right now.
Yeah. Well, because it's been so wet, we can't work, the bees like we should, we're running a little behind. We got about 300 or 400 packages out in the yard right now in the carport.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next year I can get bees off of them. Hopefully they'll be your bees. So, all right, Don, thanks.
Greg will be selling the bees up there. You don't have to just go right over to Greg and get them.
Greg, I don't know Greg. Greg
Burns.
He's taking more bees up there this year.
Oh, yeah? All right, I'll have to look into that.
I'm almost halfway in between you and Greg, so, you can pick some up for me and drop them off and keep going.
Oh, God. I don't know. Maybe I can fly down to you, Don, and bring some queens back on the plane.
That should go over really well.
I don't think you can take queens on the plane.
I don't know.
Better get a private charter.
All right, thanks.
All right, I think Chris Lowe has a question. Go ahead, Chris. Oh, hang on, you're still muted. Nope, can't undo it here. There you go.
So, hey, Don, I had 2 hives going into the winter and thought they both died out. I went out there today. I got 2 packages in. So I went out there today so I could look and see what was left because one hive did have some bees still making it through. So I was just trying to nurse them through. When I pulled the box open, I had hundreds of little heads staring at me. And it's obviously a lot stronger than mid-January when it was warm here in Georgia and I was able to go out there and look at them. So my question is kind of, what do I need to look for now that this one has made it through, knowing that I was expecting them to die out? Can I go ahead and combine them, or is it better just to leave them off? I'm going to go through them tomorrow, so I need to watch for swarm cells and all that. But is there anything else I need to really look for?
I don't believe I would combine a hive. I mean, that's kind of backing up. What I would do is, you got them in a 5-frame box, or they in a larger box?
No, they're in a 10-frame.
I'd get them in a 5-frame box. You have a lot better chance of, surviving that way.
Okay.
And if you got honey on the sides of it, you're not using, put it in the freezer or set it in your garage or basement.
Okay. Yeah.
Or set the packages up on it.
Yeah. I mean, there was a super on top, and with it being as cold as it wasn't super cold here in Georgia this year, but it was cold enough. I just left the super out there because I didn't have enough room in the freezer.
Well, I would get the super off and put them in a 5-frame box.
Okay.
Definitely do that, because you're still going to have it 2 to 3 weeks, of weather fluctuating up and down.
Right. Sounds like a plan.
What are you going to do with the packages you ordered then?
Oh, I had plenty of boxes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So it was just a surprise because I was going to combine what was left And I open it up, and I mean, there's hundreds of little heads staring at me. And like I said, there was probably a baseball-sized cluster in mid-January.
If you got that many bees in a 5-frame box, I've seen, the size of a grapefruit, the size of actually an orange go through the winter, and then keep them in a 5-frame box. And as soon as the weather warms up and some pollen's coming in, they just expand right out.
Yeah, that's
a lot faster than if you got them in a big box.
Yeah, that's what was really confusing me is there's not a lot of activity on that hive, coming in and out. So I guess what's in there is just so focused on keeping that brood warm that they're not coming out a whole lot.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna take a question from the internet. Stan Gore wants to know, how many queens are you bringing to Texas this summer?
I can't carry them on an airplane.
Oh, you're not bringing any of your queens?
No, I'm not taking none on the airplane.
Oh, okay.
If it gets a hold of my son, he probably could ship them out there.
I think he was planning on coming up and just picking them up right from there, maybe.
Unless Kelly's coming and picking them up. Kelly might have some ordered and going out there.
Okay.
But the last person I talked to, when they go through the TSA there, they don't let you have bees on there. If you
that, Paul?
one on there, you're doing good.
Okay. Just sneak her in real quick.
Well, I'll be in jail then.
Well, don't do that then.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll take the train down.
They take the train, huh? I'll start out a week at a time.
From Long Island. Good luck. All right, no other questions. I'll take another internet question. Doug wants to know some recommendations for success with Ross rounds.
The best success is wait till you have a good honey flow and you have a good double deep full of bees. If you don't have enough bees, they're not going to draw Ross rounds out. If you're trying to do it on 3 or 4 frames of bees, they're not going to do it.
Okay. Do you still do the Ross rounds, or are you doing just cut comb now?
Me, if
Yeah.
I'm going to do Ross rounds, I'm going to dump a gallon of honey in the feeder. See, I do them on 5-frame boxes. They fill them out faster. If you put a gallon of honey over your deep box and then 2 Ross round supers, they'll build your brood out, and then you get the bonus is 2 supers of Ross rounds. They build it out super fast. They cap it out in less than a week.
Wow. Okay. All right. Nobody else got questions. Everybody's being shy. Oh, there we go, Greg. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey guys, I was up traveling through Ohio this week and had a chance to stop by and say hi to Virgil and Barb Buckingham, and super great folks. They're here. Actually, I can see them here on the screen on the bee chat. And I just wanted to encourage folks, if you've got, fellow beekeepers, anyone here in the Fat Bee Man's group that are anywhere in your area, you'll probably find, like I did, is some of the folks here that we're all connected with are some of the best folks you were ever going to meet. And so take the time and go out and meet them, say hi, have a cup of coffee, and you'd be surprised. So thanks for having me over, Buckinghams. It was great meeting you guys. Don, I had a question for you. I've got about, I don't know, maybe about 3,000 board feet of rough cut. I'm all ready to go. And I was just curious, I can get to be a little frugal sometimes. And I've got my local Mennonites here do most of my sawing until I buy a band mill. And so I'll, trying to get the boards just so that maybe I'll have to touch them 1 or 2 times through the planer. Their kerf, which is probably real similar to yours, it's a wood miser. It's about a 3/32, I think, is about the tolerance that they have on any kind of movement on that. So I had them cut it just a hair over 7/8. What do you usually cut your thickness at?
Well, see,
you spend so much time planing them.
That there is a whole can of worms right there. Because one person has a wood miser, they assume all of the people are doing the same. Wood miser suggests 19 to 23,000. I'm running 17,000.
Okay.
And wood miser's got a building factor, so I cut right on 3/4. So at the very most, I'm cutting 13/16. And if I'm in a hurry, I just plane one side. Just set my planer at 3/4. It's one shot through.
So you're setting it for 3/4, and it's just okay, that makes sense. That'll leave me at least 1 or 2 passes less on the planer, which adds up over a few $100.
The main thing is you got to find out what they're setting their bands at.
Okay.
See, I'm setting mine right at 17. I saw a little slower than what most people do. If you set them at 23, some 27,000, you can zip on through there. But, you know, you just got to cut a lot more wood and waste a lot of wood.
Right, right. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, up to Virgil. Can't unmute you. There we go. Oh. Go ahead, Virgil and Thunder.
Hey, Don, I was just curious. We were at a sale today and somebody had brought in a bunch of hives to sell at an auction, and they were in those polystyrene boxes, but it was like 24 degrees this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking, you know, they moved them bees. Oh, it was probably an hour trip up to where they set them. And then of course people were kicking the boxes and opening them and closing them. It just didn't seem like it would, you know, them bees are going to be able to make it through all that. Do you think they would?
It's hard to say. You know, it's just like when you put them in the post office, you're hoping for the best.
Well, I mean, it's been that cold up here. They had to have been clustered. And I know you said before, just leave them alone when it's cold. Don't break the cluster. And I that was my first thought when I seen everybody, you know, doing that to them.
Well, if they brought a nuke up there that's polystyrene, and then you're going to buy that, unless you open it up and looked at it, you're buying a pick and a poke, unless you're buying just empty equipment.
No, these were all 10 frames they had. We weren't even interested in them. What we've got here is fine. I was just curious what you thought about it. It scared me. I thought that was the first thing I thought when they're jiggling them around, trying to load them up and unloading them and traveling in 20-degree weather, that those clusters are going to get aggravated and start breaking. And the next thing you know, you got a dead queen.
Right. You know, when you're buying a box and you can't go through it, you're buying a pig in the poke. So you don't know what you got.
Right. Well, that's what I said. I was surprised to see. I think one of them was run up. They gave $300 for it. It was a single box. It was supposed to be full of bees with the hive top feeder on it for $300. And I'm thinking, oh, I'd rather go to Don's and buy some bees and bring them home than try that stunt.
Well, there's no way you can check it. And once you've got, you know, your box and you went to your house, and by the time you open it, the guy's done gone. No.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I was just curious.
Got to be cautious buying, you know, you can buy used plastic stuff and sterilize it, but I wouldn't waste my money on woodware. You know, woodware is too cheap to buy. To take we've already decided, and we're just following everything you do. We're sticking with what we've got. It's worked so far. The wood boxes, everything, and you know, it's worked 2 years in a row now. So why change it? It's cheap. Well, if any of you can start making queens right now, the phone don't stop ringing for queens. There's such a shortage. Get all the queens out there, and you can make them. You know, there's a big market for them right now.
Well, I had somebody ask today if we'd sell them a nuke, and already an overwintered nuke, but I tried to explain to them, I don't want to sell any yet this year. I want to split the heck out of everything we got. Mm-hmm. And have a minimum of 50 by the end of summer. So if I start selling now, I'm not going to get the numbers that we need, that I want. Yeah. Let somebody else take over. Thanks, Don.
Okay.
Over to Ernest. Hang on. This thing's being slow. Can't unmute you. Try it on your end, Ernest. Try to unmute.
There he goes.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Don, I have a question for you. I have the different ones that died out, and I have honey around the outside. Mm-hmm. I'm cutting that off and putting it in buckets. Didn't you say you melted it down or something, then fed it back to the bees?
You can do that, but don't get it up real boiling. Bring it up just till the wax melts, and then let it solidify and take off the chunk of wax. Why don't you just take the frames of honey and make a split with them, or put a package on them?
Yeah, I probably could, but don't have any packages up this way yet.
Well, if you got a freezer, put them in the freezer. I would look at your comb. If it looks like it's drawn good, it's not stretched out, and it's good worker cells, I would use it.
Yeah, I was just afraid of getting wax moths in it, you know.
I think it's too cold for wax moth.
Well, I opened up some of them and they had just maybe one little worm or either some eggs in there. So I guess they could probably take care of it if it's a strong hive, though, couldn't they?
Probably could.
Do you feed that back in the hive top feeder or just open feed it?
I would set it inside on a cluster of bees. You know, if it's already got a lot of the webbing in there, then you might want to just cut it out.
No, they wasn't webbing, just dead bees and.
Well, it's going to have a funny smell if you cook it down for honey. That's the only problem, you know, if you got dead bees in there. Probably be better to set it in a 5-frame box, you know, with a bottom on it. Let them just rob it out, then melt the stuff down.
Okay. Okay.
I've done that out in the yard here several times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they're starting bringing a little pollen in. We're getting a few flowers, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll start growing here shortly.
Well, I'm hoping mine grow fast.
Yeah, I'm starting seeing the trees is getting a little tint on them, so I guess the red maple will be blooming here in another couple of weeks, probably or 3.
Well, it's got a lot of green and yellow pollen blowing hard. We got a yard south of Athens, and it's like 2 weeks ahead down there. My son got a white truck, and it's got green color to it and yellow all over it. Up here, the pines are just starting to get little bulbs on them. Just a little bit of pollen coming off them now. But it's ready if we don't get a freeze.
Yeah, we're still getting down in the 30s and 20s at night, so they're not going to be doing too much brood, I guess, till it gets a little bit warmer. Okay.
Everybody's getting anxious to get going.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Over to Bill. Go ahead, Bill.
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Hey Don, how's it going?
Okay.
I'm gonna try to make some queens, and I'm gonna do it your way, the way where you said you cut out a piece of comb, put it between 2 frames, and smash it down.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the video where that just seems
Well,
like
basically, cut a strip 1 inch wide, put the cells vertically, and just space your frames out a little bit, and just sit it in there.
okay. And like, what's the time frame I need to leave it alone for? About a week? How long?
Well, when you put it in there, look at your larva. Try to get larva that's, you know, 3 days old or even eggs.
Okay.
If you go down to a section where it's eggs and they're not laying down, they're still standing, then, you know, go back in 14 days or 12 days. You should be able to cut cells.
Okay, just
Your best bet would be just to crowd your cells down. If you got a 5-frame box, feed them and don't do nothing.
Yeah, obviously.
Little draw cells.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Over to Paul. Hang on. Still muted. Still muted. There you go.
Don, on my drawn, on my dead outs, the frames with the dead bees in the cells, the bees will clean those up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They'll pull them out.
Yep. Sure will. Don't make meat out of it. I see you making meat out of everything.
No.
Okay.
I just don't want to be there with tweezers just picking all of those bees out of there.
Well, don't put a lot of them in, you know. You can put 1, 2, 3 frames in there. A lot of times, if we get one that has some dead bees in it, you know, we'll put 1 frame and dump a package in on top of it. If there's honey in that frame, they'll clean it out.
You think I should start these packages in my 5-frame nukes?
Yep. It grows a lot faster.
So that would give me like a 3-week time period before they really start growing.
They're going to start growing fast in a 5-frame box. A lot faster than a 10-frame or an 8-frame box. They just got all that extra area in there.
Yeah, but I mean, new bees aren't going to be hatching out for another 3 weeks, so I wouldn't need to worry about them building queen cells or anything.
Nah, you never know how bees, they got a mind of their own. Usually at the earliest, probably a month to 5 weeks, and then you might see cells. If you got a really heavy honey flow.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not worrying about that now. We're not going to have nothing going on.
You never know the way the weather is.
All right, thanks.
Hey.
Okay, we got a lull, no questions right now. Come on, people. Oh, there we go. There's Dennis. Go ahead, Dennis.
Hey, Don. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Don. I've been setting my schedule 10 days to go into the hives. My thinking is this, correct me if I'm wrong. I figure if I get in every 10 days and I catch a swarm cell, I'd be more apt to transfer it. If I wait any later than that, a lot of times that old queen will swarm out before the virgin's born.
Well, if you do a good inspection of your hive, I always tell people 14 days, that's the max. So people that's got a full-time job, if you go in there within 14 days and you inspected it good. Now, some people say it, they're inspecting it good, and they might miss a queen cell that started right along that sidebar. They'll hide them.
I just figured if I go in at 10, she's less apt to swarm off, wouldn't it?
Well, it's not the queen swarming off. It's the queen cells you're trying to get, right?
Both. I want to get the queen cells out of there. Either that or I'll just pull them and put them in an incubator, not take a chance. But just thought, well, 10-day schedule.
If you cut them now, you need to stand them up on those little rollers.
Yeah. Okay.
Protectors.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Got
all.
your incubator?
I've got everything I think I need, but good back.
You always need more.
I'm about wore out. I'm ready for you as soon as we all get everything set up. But it's been a long winter already. We haven't even got to the working part.
Oh, yeah.
We're waiting. Thank you.
Okay, over to Bill. Go ahead, Bill.
I thought of one more question I had. I guess, yeah, this will be, well, 3 swarms. 2 of them were the same. I don't know why my video didn't change. 3 swarms, and the first time I caught it and it got back out, and I recaught it again, and that was in an out yard.
Check for more than one cell or more than one queen.
Yeah, I did. I did what you said when you said to take the box and kind of stretch it out. And I kept moving it back and got a pretty long line. And I never found her, but they all went in there and started fanning.
You missed her.
In my yard that I caught, I put a little queen excluder. I had an old plastic one, and I put it over the entrance. And I was going to leave it like that for maybe 72 hours. And I put some comb from last year that I had in the freezer. I warmed it up and stuck it in to give her somewhere to lay. But basically, when I started seeing, because when they came out of, this is my first time experiencing coming out of winter. And when they came out and I first inspected the hives, there was like wall-to-wall drone brood. That's a sign that they're going to swarm, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I see, because I mean, there was frames just solid drones.
Well, if you got all that drone in there, it could be you could have damaged the queen. You got a drone layer then. You should have drones, but you shouldn't have every frame covered.
No, it wasn't every frame, but some of the frames were solid with just drones.
I always say if you cover it with a $1 bill, you're normal. If it's more than a $1 bill, we'll cover, then something else is going on.
Something else is going on. Either I got a laying worker.
You could have a failing queen.
Yeah.
And if they, you put the swarm in the box and they flew out, maybe the queen never made it. Cool weather, if there's no drones around and she didn't mate, a lot of times they'll hang in a tree and then they'll fly out and remate again.
Okay. I'll check that box more thoroughly. I'm going to get to go over there tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
No more hands up. Come on, everybody's being shy tonight. I'm gonna have to start calling on people.
We show a picture of some barbecued pork or something up here, and everybody will have their hand up.
That gets them going real quick.
Yeah.
Actually, I already talked to Kelly, and he's going to be on the next chat and talk about the picnic coming up.
All right.
Okay, over to John. Go ahead, John.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I have a question. I'm doing okay as far as getting my bees through the winter this year so far, and I'm not counting my chickens, eggs before they hatch, but I lost a hive this year, right about a month ago. That really surprised me because it was going to be my finisher hive. It had over 50 pounds of honey on top, and it loaded with bees, just absolutely loaded with bees. I was afraid they were going to even swarm during the wintertime. There was probably 10 pounds of bees in there. And all of a sudden they're gone and dead, just overnight. And my question is, the only thing that was different on that hive than the other hives, and this was a 10 frame, was that it had a feeder on it that has the plastic tubs and they climb up the middle and then they climb into each side. Could that have trapped moisture under there if there was a quick change in temperature and drip down on the bees and killed them?
It's possible, it's one reason that we never painted the inside of lids and stuff. You need wood there to wick it away.
Okay.
People that's had those plastic feeders had more problems than the ones that have wood ones. The ones that I designed and people are building them don't seem to have the problem. If the bees look wet and damp looking,
Yeah, and they died on the outside of the frames in groups. So I was wondering, could I have broken up the cluster accidentally and they never just reformed? Because if it was a 3D box, and at every top of every box, the bees are dead on the edges. They weren't even in the frames. They were just sitting up on top in the bee space.
I don't know about that now.
Yeah.
Something could have had heat loss. I had more losses when I run doubles and triples in Ohio than I did in singles. When I had singles, I seemed to have a lot better luck.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to keep an eye on them as far as, stores. If they get light, you just have to put some honey on them.
Yeah. Well, they were pretty solid. I took the two supers that were off that hive when it died, moved it over to another deep that was doing well but was low on supplies, and they just seem to be growing leaps and bounds now with all that honey in there.
At least you didn't lose it all.
Yeah, I know. It's just disappointing. So I'm looking at probably this year, out of my high point of 23 hives in the summer, I cooked 3 of them myself, and then I lost the queen late in the season on another box. But I'll probably end up with maybe, I don't know, 30%, 40% loss maybe this year, which from what I hear, it's not too bad. I've heard people lose even more.
Well, that's one reason I try to take 8 frame stuff in September, try to split it, make 3 splits out of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you lost half, you're still ahead.
Yeah.
And you have to play numbers if you're making money at this.
Yeah.
A good strong hive is good to go through the winter, but take that same hive and split it 4 or 5 times and you got a lot more chances to go through with some bees.
That's kind of my goal. I think I'm going to take all the 10 frames and break them into many 5 frames as I can in the spring and see if I can't get 60, 70 hives by the end of the summer.
It's not hard to build numbers up. It's just the main thing is keep them fed and everything.
Yeah.
You do the treatments late, don't, stop treating, in the fall. You got to treat.
Now, you still treating every month regardless? Are you treating now at all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I was nervous about with the brood, with them just starting, if I hit them with the oxalic acid, would that make damage?
You just got to watch where you're at. If they're in a tight cluster, I wouldn't try doing it.
Okay.
When they're flying pretty good, then you do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Down to Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Don, with the oxalic acid, wouldn't it be better to treat them at night when all of the bees are in the hive instead of during the day?
You have not opened a hive at night, have you? Well, you can do it, but you're going to stumble around out there.
Yeah.
How are you going to see what you're doing? With a flashlight?
No, I was just curious because, say half the hive is out in the fields,
That's why you want to treat every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And, the flashlight with the bees at night just don't work.
No, I can imagine that. But, and also, do you think I have to treat these packages or?
I wouldn't bother treating packages right off. You know, I'd wait 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because the mites are going to build in the cells, and you shouldn't have mites on the hive, on the package.
Now, what about the mites that are in my dead outs? Will those be dead?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm never worried about mites, you know, because we treat on a regular basis. If you've treated on a fairly regular basis, you shouldn't have mites in it.
No, I have. I've seen the mites in the cells on the dead outs. So I'm debating whether or not just to treat the dead outs, just to kill the mites.
No, they would have froze by now, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your mites are all dead if the bees are dead.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all I have.
Okay. Up to Virgil. Hang on. I don't know why it mutes some people. And there we go. Go ahead.
Hey, Paul, you were talking about treating at night. We made, on a lot of our boxes, we made a different bottom board because we run in everything screen bottom. And we've got a little trap door at the back of it because he's usually not home during the day and we're gone a lot. And we made it real easy. We just flip that back door open and slide the whatever you want to call it, the Oxalic, the wand in there.
Yeah.
We've got the front closed up without disturbing them and just go right down the line, and it worked real well, but we had to change the bottom board so that we could put that little door in there.
All right.
And then they really didn't come out. I mean, you know, you had a few once we opened the front back up, but it made it nice. You stayed behind the boxes and just go right down the row.
All right. Thanks for that info.
You use the red light?
No, we didn't use any light. We just went out there and you can pretty much see it. Unless it's a real dark night, you can see. And we've got a screw to open that back door, you know. Open the back door up, slide the wand in and hook it up and you're done.
How do you close off your screen bottom boards?
Well, we've got the board underneath there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On the bottom. And then this, you know, because I was a little bit worried shoving them in the front all the time. If there's wax hanging or something, I didn't want to catch a fire or anything. And so we designed it that way, and it really worked out nice for doing it at night because, you know, a lot of times that's the only time we've got to do it. And we haven't had any problems with it yet. It's worked great.
I know if you selling bees, you know, there's a lot of people that don't want to come when you want them to come. We sell our nukes from 1 o'clock to like 5, and people that insist on coming at dark. Stephen broke one customer of doing that. He said, "You want to check your box?" And he handed him the flashlight and opened the box, and that was the end of that. You don't have to do that no more.
There you go.
Because most people that never move bees at night don't know that. You know, if you move them at night, you got to use a red light or get them closed off and try to move them.
Yeah, well, like I said, it doesn't happen a lot, but I'd rather have them treated at night when we had to, and that just, I don't know, it just seemed to work perfect. Because you can go in down the front, close them off, they're not getting disturbed, you don't need the light, and then open them up, and away you go.
Mm-hmm.
Slide it in. But that's just what we did, Paul. I just thought about that when you said doing them at night.
Okay. Let's see, over to John again. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit too about opening up a hive at night. When I was the first year of beekeeping, I bought my first queen cell from a fellow club member. And by the time we got done jawing, when I got back to the house, it was dark. Ernie was with me, he bought one, and I went back to the hive, and it was just a 5-frame, and I cracked that top of that lid, and my bees that just changed their tone. It was the most angry tone I've ever heard from my bees at that point. They didn't even fly. They ran up the frames onto my hands, and I got about 25 stings in about 3 seconds. So be very careful at night with the bees. And like a flashlight, that's just like a lighthouse. It tells them exactly where you're at. So, but you can work them. Just suit up and just be prepared for them not to be too happy. you
It's
know?
best not to open the box and do anything. Even if you move them at night, if they're not flying, they crawl faster than they fly usually.
I've never seen anything like it, but so I didn't have gloves or anything on. They were on me and stinging. And, you know, I realized after about 15 stings in each hand, you don't have to fear the sting anymore. Your hands go numb.
Right.
And
Yep.
So, you know, I just put the frame back in the box and shut the lid and went back in the house dejected. So, but anyway, I just wanted to add that real quick about the bees at night. So be careful.
Okay. No more questions. We're just gonna stare at each other.
Ah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, me and my wife went on a hot date this week to our local bee club meeting, and I was sitting there and I kept noticing folks would walk by and kind of look at me and keep walking. I know I'm pretty ugly, you can get a lot of attention that way, but this guy comes up and says, "I think I bought bees off you this year. I noticed your hat," and I totally forgot I was wearing my Fat Bee Man hat. And turns out that someone who bought bees that are down stock from us this year is super close, and actually goes to the same local bee meeting. And I don't know if anyone else has kind of noticed, but it seems like the last couple of years at our local bee club meetings, it can kind of be a little be a little dry when it comes to communicating with folks. There can sometimes be a little standoffish. No one wants to communicate with each other or talk or a whole lot. But I couldn't tell you how many times I looked over to my wife and said, "Well, it was a Fat Bee Man hat for the win," because it sparked conversation. Everyone loves the Fat Bee Man. And so if you're wearing a shirt or a hat, they'll come up, talk, and then you can just, I don't know, I just wanted to throw it out there that we're all goofballs for being beekeepers to start with, but you put all those goofballs in one room at a bee club meeting, it gets super goofy. But wearing a Fat Bee Man hat or shirt was just, I guess it's a neat way to help, you know, get to know some other folks that are also of the same mind there. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Sometimes that helps and sometimes it don't help. You know, if you go to bee clubs and people are giving their little speaks about different things and all their different comments, and then people say they're a student of mine, and all of a sudden it gets dead silence. Nobody wants to say nothing no more. They're afraid to say something, or they're worried about it getting back to me, I guess. I don't know. But there's a lot of people that like to take a little bit of information and they stretch it out so they can fill a book up with it. You know?
I do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, over to Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, Don, on the feeding slurp,
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting right now about 35 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket with just probably 2 gallons of water or less. Am I getting it thick enough or too thick? Or
I personally feed it as thick as they'll take it. That's what I do, you know. Right now, we're feeding high fructose corn syrup, and we're not even cutting it. And it comes out of the spigot like molasses, and the bees are pulling it. So, you know.
they seem to be taking it good. To me, the thicker it is that they'll take, seems like less they have to do to be able to use it. But that's my thoughts.
Remember I said about the flashlight?
Yeah.
You're going to get ate up with that flashlight out there. My wife just went out in the carport with a flashlight. There's some stragglers out there. They didn't get you? She said no.
Yeah, I've got a lot hanging around my house right now. I'd hate to walk out with a flashlight.
Well, we see all the packages we just brought up. We shook them about 3-4 hours ago, and they still got a bunch of hitchhikers on the outside of the cages. We just had a customer come pick up some bees, so she went out to the flashlight. I was worried about her getting ate up.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Dennis. Go ahead, Dennis.
Hey, Don, what's a good price for your fructose?
If you can get it down to about 30 cents, you know, a pound, that's a good price. Are you taking a 300 gallon or are you taking a 250?
Well, I just was up around Daydat and stopped in and checked to see what they were selling it for. Undoubtedly, I'm going to call back up there. The lady that dealt with me said $3.80 a pound. No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, there's in a tote, there's 3,000 pounds.
At $3.80 a pound, I can buy sugar a lot cheaper. That's why I said maybe I misunderstood her.
Yeah, I think we take, if we have to buy it, we're buying it around 1,200. If you can get enough totes, you need at least 12 or 13 totes. Man Lake will deliver it to you, and it'll break down to 19 or 21 cents, I think.
Okay, I'm not that big yet.
It's about $6,500 investment, I think. And Cargill and MDF, they won't talk to you unless you do like a $20,000. In fact, I talked to Cargill a week ago, and you got to buy $50,000 worth of syrup a year, and it's a contract. Whether you use it or not, you pay for it. Okay. They just don't want to fool with the. If you're buying $10,000 worth of syrup a year, you're small time. They don't want to fool with you.
Well, I'm just about 2 hours away from them. I figure, well, I'll get me a tote and run up there. They'll sell it clear down to 5-gallon bucket. But I would too at $3.86, I think, a pound.
It's $60-some a 5-gallon bucket at $3. No, 60 pounds to a 5-gallon bucket. There was a guy selling it for $60 a bucket somewhere on Craigslist or Facebook. I seen it.
Yeah. Well, I need a little cheaper than that if I want to save money.
There's White Mountain Sugar. Have you checked with them?
No, sir. Not yet.
Check with them. You might buy sugar wholesale there. Now, somebody said they're buying it at Sam's Club, 30 cents or 31 cents a pound.
Well, right now I'm buying it 25 pounds at $9 at Walmart.
That's
getting it down.
30, that's about 37 cents a pound.
Yeah, I was just trying to save more,
Yeah.
I buy all their big bags every time it comes in. I'm going to talk to them about buying a pallet. Maybe it'll save me a little bit.
Sometimes they'll break it and sometimes they won't.
Yeah.
They know you need it.
All right. I was just curious.
Okay. Don, I have a question. In the past, we've always said, do not feed your bees high fructose corn syrup. Mm-hmm. Why has that changed now? They
changed the formula of it, I guess. Back when it was called batch 55, we used it in South Georgia and didn't seem like we had good results queen mating, and seemed like they carried diarrhea or had nosema. But everything's changed now. Just about everything you eat's got corn syrup in it now.
True. Okay. Just wondering. I know
large scale, you have to save where you can, and Stephen has bought some syrup from there's a company delivers from New York, and it runs $1,600 a tote, and that's 3,000 gallons. If you buy 5 totes at a time, you can get about $1,400 a tote. That's delivered to your house.
Right.
The only problem is you got to have something to unload it with.
Okay. Good to know. Over to John. Go ahead, John.
I have a question that's kind of directed towards Greg Burns. I know you mentioned earlier that you're going to be heading north with some bees. I was wondering, A, do you have room for more packages on there, and what's your determined route?
Yeah, we're headed, we're picking up bees on the 4th, May 4th from Don, and we're heading up through Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio. My last stop east is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and that should be on the 6th. And I have to talk to Stephen, of course, and see if they can add on to the order. We've sold out of the initial block that we purchased, but I can find out from Stephen and Don there if I can add some on, and then if you need less than 30, then I'm pretty sure I can do that.
Okay. I want to talk to you, but again, because Harrisburg is about an hour and a half west of excuse me, of where I live, so it's not hard for me to meet you out there.
Cool. Yeah, just get a hold of me on Facebook or shoot me a message.
Yeah, we're just, like I said, we're just gearing up out here, and I don't want to get them too early because it's not unusual to get a freak snow out here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's May 4th here on at least on we're on Route 70, right, just east of Columbus, and from 70 all the way across to Philly. The weather's pretty decent. There's some changes there in the mountains and such, but the first part of May has been pretty safe for us over the last couple of years.
Okay.
So
You can always make another trip.
Yeah.
Now, what about hauling corn syrup around as a group? How can we coordinate that? We all don't necessarily need a tote. We may need a 55-gallon drum of it. If we could figure out a way to get a company to provide us with a, deliver it, will they make multiple stops or will they make one stop in an area?
I don't know about that. If you get a hold of Steven, I know the company that he ordered from originated from New York. So they delivered it from New York down here to Georgia.
Okay.
Now, you might get a hold of the plant. I don't have any of that information because he's always ordered himself there.
Okay.
But now Man Lake has got a outfit over there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they're up in Scranton. They're about two and a half hours north of us.
I know you could go there directly because I think Steven's talked to them. You can go there with a tote and they'll fill it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, would you know what the price break is on that though?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll check it out.
Imagine it's going to be around 30 to 35 cents a pound.
Okay. Now, do you plan on feeding that all through the summer? Are you mixing any of your own sugar? And the other question is, do you put some of your oils in with that syrup? Okay.
Yeah, we mix it. But you can buy sugar if you want to take a trip down to Savannah. I get you the number there. You can buy the stuff for 19 cents a pound. You just have to have a mixing thing to mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason we went to pre-mix is the time. It kills you half a day mixing stuff up. You take 2,000 pounds of dry sugar, you got to mix up a lot of barrels. We mix it in a 55-gallon barrel. And then it has to be pumped from the barrel to the container.
Yeah.
So, time is money. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Okay. Over to Virgil and Thunder. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Well, first I wanted to tell Greg we broke open the mead tonight. It was good. Thanks for bringing it. But they were talking about the Walmart sugar. I just wonder if anybody else noticed. I was ordering it online, and I ordered they're both the Great Value brand, but the one says pure cane sugar, and the other one says pure granulated sugar. Same price, everything else, but they don't carry the pure cane sugar bags in the store. We're paying $7 for a 25-pound bag. But I wondered if anybody else had noticed that there's two bags that look almost identical except for that word pure cane.
Is there a difference?
My guess is maybe you think it's beet sugar, Don?
I doubt it. They got several lines of sugar they use. That Walmart brand or the value brand is the same sugar that, Domino and C&H.
I'm just concerned with the fact that the one says pure cane sugar and the other one says pure granulated sugar, and they're two different SKU numbers, two different items, but same price.
Side by side, they're the same.
Okay, so we're still good. It just kind of worried me a little bit when I noticed it.
If it's beet sugar, it'll state beet sugar, and it'll be a darker sugar. Now,
Okay.
There's Mexican sugar is coming up. There's a company that sells that now. It's an off-white, not snow white, but it's still sugar. The bees ain't going to complain. I've fed beet sugar in the past.
No, I was really surprised today. You told us to get the recipe from Flippin' Bee off of that video, and how fast, when it was warm today, how fast they found it. No matter where we put it, they found it. They were all over that pollen substitute.
Yeah.
And I noticed a ton of them out with orientation flights today. So keeping our fingers crossed a little bit more, another week or two, we should have some kind of steady weather without that scary drop.
Yeah, it's something. This weather fluctuating is bad this year. Got us all slowed down.
Yeah, well, this morning it was 19 with the wind chill, and tomorrow it's supposed to be up near 70 again.
We was 33 here this morning.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Well, that's all I wanted about the sugar.
Okay. All right, down to Greg. Hang on. Thinking about it. Come on. There we go, Greg.
Yeah, on that sugar difference, I'm not sure how it happened, but somehow I think it was either at Kroger or Walmart. One was, I think, like the 20 or 25 pound bag, and one was a 10-pound brick. Same label. One said granulated sugar, one said pure cane. What I noticed was the pure cane, it was a little bit coarser, and it was slightly off yellowish. It wasn't quite bright white. So I have no idea what the difference was. The cane sugar, it mixed, but I'm pretty lazy and just use cold water. It just took a little longer to mix up, the cane did, than the granulated. The granulated just seemed to be real consistent and a little bit smaller of a unit there. So they both work fine, didn't have any problems with it. Just there is some kind of a difference there on probably how it's refined, but the price point, it was the same. So.
Okay. And over to Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I don't really have too much, except I missed the whole chat today. I forgot about the time change. I've been watching you guys at 8 o'clock in the morning my time, but I need to go back to 7 o'clock in the morning now. I just opened it up and I was saying, wow, they're all talking already. What the hell's going on? Then I realized I missed the whole damn thing. So I'll just have to catch it when he puts the video out. And I haven't seen my bees for almost 2 weeks. I was away on vacation. So we just came back, I think, 2 days ago. So I don't really have anything. I hope you all had a nice chat, and I'll catch up when E puts it out. I wish everybody the best coming into spring, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Good.
All right.
All right. No more questions again. Oh, there we go. Dennis, go ahead.
Hey, Anthony, didn't we see you in a Speedo on the beach?
That wasn't me. I hope you saw my dance routine.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Did you really see it?
You have some moves.
Yeah. We had a beach. We had a buffet on the beach, and the Thais were doing their traditional dance stuff, and so they grabbed me to go up there. Well, I've never been bashful, so they didn't have to ask me twice. So if you see me on YouTube, you can see my Thai traditional dance moves.
I've seen it.
I'm not just another pretty face,
I couldn't resist.
Okay, no worries, man. Enjoy.
He's probably baking. All right. Still quiet. I'm going to have to start calling on people soon. Jeff,
been awful quiet tonight.
Jeff, how are your bees doing in the shed? Let's get an update here.
You don't want to know.
Uh-oh. That's not good then.
We had a barbecue event.
Oh, geez.
Long story short, it was middle of the night. I went to bed. I checked the temperature. It was about 38 degrees in the shed. I'd been out there that day. All the hives were fine. I woke up in the morning at 5:30. I happened to look out the window, and I saw some smoke. And then I looked at the temperature gauge, and it was 110.
No.
So I go out to the shed. There's about a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust going on. And so I gradually opened the doors because I was thinking, okay, it might be a backdraft situation. And it was just smoldering. What had happened, apparently when I closed the shed up, the vacuum suction must have knocked a bag I had with wood chips down on the floor. And one of those must have got up into the wall heater.
Oh, geez.
And caused a small ignition. And the smoke, surprising, one hive closest to the door still had some bees in it, but the queen was dead. I let them go for a couple more weeks, but then they died out. But So now I got a lot of honey that I've recovered and cleaned. I've cleaned up all the stuff there. So I got 4 packages coming in. So we're back to the drawing board.
Wow. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I was. They were surprising. They were really in great shape. I had a mixture of different. I had 10 frame boxes, and then I had 5 frame boxes. They were super strong and well fed. No moisture issues. It was just the smoke event. So whatever happened, it kind of took place between about 11 in the morning and 5:30, 11 at night and 5:30 in the morning.
And how long ago was this?
About 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And they were doing all good in the shed up until that
all doing good. Yeah. So I'm looking at now, maybe I'll do, but one thing I noticed with that, with 6 hives in that shed, they seemingly generated enough heat themselves to keep that thing up around 40.
Wow.
Yeah. Without any heat source. So I'm toying with the idea. Maybe I'll just do a regular plug-in register, which has no exposed part to where heat could ignite something. Whether
what about heat tapes?
The problem is regulating that stuff.
They have a regulator on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've thought about that, but I think I found this register they have. This, like the old portable registers you get, iron register. But they get the temperature. You can bring that rate down to about 38 degrees. So I might try that next time, and then I'll regulate it that way. That way it'll just come on if they need it. If it drops to if it goes below 38, then it'll pop on. But the risk with the wall with the heating unit was that obviously there was enough whatever got into that unit that it caused ignition. I mean, it wasn't a major fire. It was just a singe. It was kind of interesting because the wood chips that were in the bag, I just had them as extra for sucking up any moisture in the shed, but I had it in an old bag, plastic bag, so they wouldn't be all over the place. But it was interesting that they just kind of smoldered on top of a beehive lid, which had fallen with them.
You're lucky.
I was lucky. I had my carbon dioxide canister out there with me when I opened that up. I thought, okay, here we go. I'm gonna look in here, see what happens. It was an interesting event. Wow. But anyway, that's the second phase of my operation.
On the build number 3. All right. Well, good luck in the next one.
Yeah.
All right. Over to Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, Jeff, is that shed you keep them in, is that detached from your house?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a good thing. For those of you that don't know, Jeff lives in a huge, absolutely beautiful log cabin. How many square feet is that?
Oh, well, if you include the garage, it's about 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, the thing is huge and it's absolutely beautiful. And that would have been a hell of a shame and a hell of a fire if that thing had taken off,
The other thing, yeah, that's true. They also, I was thinking I'd probably integrate in, and if I do have a heat source in there again, I'll probably put in a CO2, a smoke detector, remote Wi-Fi one.
Yeah.
I have the temperature Wi-Fi and the humidity Wi-Fi, and it's just that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, well, that's too bad, because you were doing good last year.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're doing good this year.
Yeah, I just checked them that same day, and it was my fault. I should have paid attention when I closed the door. I recall vaguely hearing something kind of move, but I didn't. I thought, well, it couldn't have been anything big because I was just in there.
Yeah, we're coming back for the month of August, and we're going to take a few days and drive up the coast of Maine. I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to Presque Isle, but if I do, we'll stop by for sure and visit.
Oh, you're welcome. You should be able to make it.
Yeah. All right. I'll let
you
go.
Good.
That's a question. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, we are over 9 o'clock. I don't see any other hands up, so we're going to call it a night. If you want to stick around for the after chat, you're more than welcome. I'm going to take off though, because supposedly New York can see the northern lights tonight. So I'm going to go outside and look for them.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Don. Thanks, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
Goodbye.
Thanks, E.